Hey, Chris. Can you hear me, Chris? I'm not sure Chris can hear me. Okay. Well, if you can hear me out there, give us 1 second. We're dealing with some StreamYard technical issues here. Anyway, while Chris gets reloaded there, nice to meet you. My name is Kevin Shively. I'm VP of Marketing here at Pantheon. Super excited to chat with Chris Teitzel today from Cellar Door. They're doing some incredible work with how they leverage AI to build across the web, and we're going to walk through some of what they've done and what Cellar Door does in general. So if you have questions for Chris as we go on, please let me know. Chime in the chat, chime in however you would like. We would love to hear it. And very excited to get Chris back. Prompt question for you while we wait. If you are on the live, drop this into the chat as well. What is the coolest thing that you have built on the web lately? What are the things that you're most excited about getting rolling there? All right. And if you are joining for the first time while we continue to wait here, unrelated to this topic, I'll tell you a little bit about Pantheon. So Pantheon is where the web works. We build managed web hosting and web ops tools for fleet management. So as you are building out your web portfolio across multiple sites, how do you maintain that brand consistency, that brand governance, and all of the different layers that you need in an enterprise ecosystem to manage your website across various different stakeholders and teams. We bring your development team, your marketing team, everybody all together so we can make sure you have all of the tools that you need. Oh, and apparently Chris is back and can hear me.
I can hear you now. Sorry about that.
All right.
No, it looks like the streaming service does not like Safari and does like Chrome. So quick flip and we're back in action here.
well, glad you're here. Thanks for joining us today, Chris.
Yeah, no problem.
Nice. Well, while we dig into this, we're going to be talking about how AI is making execution 10 times faster, but what that means on the other side and how you actually manage those sites, how you build them, how you move through the entire funnel there. And I am very excited to hear your take on all this, Chris. Before we dig in, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about Cellar Door and the type of work that you do.
Yeah. So Cellar Door, we started 17 years ago now. So that's what some of this white hair on the side's from now. So I've been around the block a few times. We originally started actually as an app development company in 2009 during the whole app craze and startup there. But we quickly pivoted into the mobile web and saw that there was actually a bigger need to build better mobile websites than just yet another app. And through that, we've had the opportunity to work with some of the largest companies in the world. We've built websites that see millions of views every day. We've been all over the world. I've built e-commerce in sub-Saharan Africa. I've launched personal products in Haiti. We've done all sorts of fun stuff, and really enjoy working with our clients. And that's where we focus on. And so now we're a consultancy that works and builds and helps folks embrace AI and understand what does it mean for your business? How do you adopt it? You're hearing all the buzzwords, everything around it, but how do we actually make sustainable tooling? So we've taken our background in all the web. We continue to build websites, but now we're building them in an agentic form and trying to make sure that we understand more around the business, not just the technical. So we're working more in design now, and in the business side, helping to automate more and more there as well too.
Love it. Love it. When you think about the clients that you work with and who comes to you for this type of work, how big of a priority is that building in agentic ways, building quicker, all of the different things that we're talking about inside this ecosystem? What is the client perspective on that right now?
It's very interesting because the clients are coming in either AI agnostic. They have no, opinions and they have no previous experience. Some of them are coming in with mandates from the C-suite saying, AI all the things and turn on all the AI, and everyone's like, great, but what does that actually mean? Like, how do I actually do better? And so a lot of the times they're coming in and saying, okay, I hear that AI is going to make me faster. I've also read that AI doesn't really make you faster. Sometimes it makes you slower. And our answer is yes. It speeds up a lot of things, and it also slows down others if you don't know how to embrace it and don't know how to use it. And so we end up kind of shifting and shaping what their perception of AI is, but at the same time, making sure they're taken care of on all their technical needs. And so AI doesn't change what a website is; it just changes how you build it, right? And so at the core fundamentals, as an agency, everything we've been building over the last 17 years stays the same. The fundamentals stay there. Now it's just adding in more and more of the extra tooling, and it's actually more fun for us because now we're breaking outside the web and we're able to get deeper into the business and really see some changes happen.
Love that. Love that. And I think that's one of the big values that a strong agency partner can bring to a client too, is like, this tooling is all a moving goalpost. It changes week over week, how you should be doing things, how they work, what the models are. So having somebody who's deep in the weeds and understands that and can guide you through it can be an absolute game changer with this.
Totally. And for us, one of the fun parts about our agency is that we don't niche down. So we're not specifically higher ed. We're not specifically in hospitality. We're not specifically in any one thing. And our clients actually prefer that, because now I can go to a higher ed client and say, hey, when I was working with this Fortune 100 company, here's all the techniques that they used internally. And likewise, when we go to these big Fortune 100s, we can say, hey, these small startups that we're working with are actually more nimble, and here's how they're more nimble, and help them adopt some new practices there. So it's really fun. And then it's also for us in the new AI era that we're in now, is seeing how each of these individual companies and entities start adopting AI, and they're all doing it differently. And we have to be able to understand, again, going back to the fundamentals, higher ed's a completely different industry, right? And so you have to be able to navigate higher ed in order to know how to adopt AI into higher ed, because it's a completely different process and procurement than it would be in a startup or in a small business.
Yeah, so true. So true. Okay, let's talk about dog food. Really.
Yeah.
I think this is something I'm really excited about, because it's a real world example. You just relaunched your own site.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about why your site was the right proving ground for this, why you were using that as how you thought through some of this.
Yeah. So a lot of the times we try to experiment ourselves before we bring something in front of a client. Obviously, if we're going to be charging money for it and we want them to be happy with it, we want to make sure it goes well. And so as we started looking at what does this next generation of website building mean for us, we decided, why don't we just try it on ourselves? And so, and let's be honest, an agency website isn't the most complicated thing. And so for us, it was a great way for, we toyed around with different technologies and different methods. How do we want to build this? Where do we want to build this? And it really kind of set that foundation of, okay, this is possible. Now let's build upon it, right? And so now we've got clients that are using the same process, but at a much different scale. And we're able to see, okay, the fundamentals that we built using all the tools for this site are still in play with our large enterprise clients.
I love that. It's core to our ethos here at Pantheon too, on the marketing team, is dog food and all of everything we build, because then you understand what the limitations are, what you can do things. You're pushing the envelope before anybody else gets their hands on it. Just a great approach. And okay, I want you to tell us a little bit about and kind of walk us through how the sausage is made a little bit. But to take it up to a 30,000-foot view really quickly, the title of the episode is "Execution is Cheap, the Thinking Isn't."
Yep.
What did you mean by that? Tell us a little bit about how you think about this. And we've alluded to it a little bit, but would love to just dig into what that means to you at Cellar Door.
So as an agency owner, when we were first starting to dabble in AI and the tooling was starting to actually get beyond like, Will Smith eating spaghetti type of things, and we're actually getting into useful tools, I got nervous. And I think a lot of other agency owners either were at that point or are at that point now of, man, this thing's going to eat my job. And so for me, rather than avoiding it, I dove headfirst, and I was like, how do I get into and understand this so that I can utilize this tool? It's not going away. It's not just a fad. We're not it's not pixelated monkeys as NFTs and we're, trying to convince people to buy them type of things. It's like, this is legitimate business tools. Let's start using them. And so as we started doing it, I would occasionally just take a ticket out of our issue queue with the client, and I would just run it through Claude, which is my preferred coding harness. And it came back and it was like, it fixed it, did a great job, documented everything. And I looked at the bill and it was like $5. And I'm sitting there going, okay, wait a second. That not only went 10x faster, but it cost so much less.
Right.
And as agency owners, we've been working on, and this is something I've been saying for a long time, code is a commodity. It's always been a commodity. And the actual code itself is not where the value is. And the agencies and shops that have built themselves around, we can create tens of thousands of lines of code and we can do this all, are the foundation is rapidly being pulled away from them because now AI can just write all the code all the time. So the execution part of it is dirt cheap now. Mm-hmm. And so what we're doing as an agency is again, it's kind of the fundamentals are still there. We're just shifting the frame, right? Rather than saying, look at this site, we've built you this site, it took X many hours, it's going to cost you X many dollars. We've been in this industry for 17 years. We know how to build this site better. We're going to build the site to your specs faster than you've ever had it built, fully tested, fully launched, and we're going to do it in less time. And for certain companies, speed is far more valuable than cost, right? Yep. For them to say, I can take your next year goal and move it into this year, that's worth way more than saving 10, 15% on an hourly bill because now my devs are moving faster. And so we've shifted our agency mindset, we've shifted our clients. And I think the industry writ large is slowly moving into this. Execution doesn't matter anymore. It matters, but the cost isn't there, right? The value isn't in the execution. And you can vibe code something like that. And a lot of what we're starting to get is, hey, I vibe coded this thing and it's not working anymore. Or I vibe coded this thing and now I need to launch it. And, IT is telling me that I can't use these specific technologies or this specific thing. And so the vibe coding portion of it is cheap. You get a $50, $100, $200 subscription a month. And you can crank out code like, the best devs in the world. But what does it mean? Where does it go? How do you use it? Does it actually fit your business need? That's where the value has always been. And that's where the focus of agencies need to start shifting. And so that's what I was writing about when I wrote this, is just like, for the longest time, the execution, we've always had that downward pressure on it. And now it's just bottomed out. Yeah. And so for agencies, specifically web agencies, it's embracing the knowledge that you have, the know-how to put the right pixel in the right place. Putting the pixel there is no longer the problem. And folks that are making that shift are starting to see happier clients, better products, less downtime, all the things that AI promises you. It's all because you're embracing your expertise, not chasing another tool or another technology that is, going to rug pull from underneath you in another 5 days when the next thing comes out, right?
There has to be, even beyond the technical proficiency that comes with that, a psychological benefit to an agency partner who thinks like that, because the AI is going to eat my job is something that all of your clients are grappling with.
They're feeling it too.
That's like, everybody's feeling that right now.
Yeah.
So that's, love that. Yeah.
And when we talk to design teams, specifically around some of our agentic design consulting and work that we're doing, they're like, we are so busy just day in and day out making landing pages and pitch decks and one pagers and all these, but we still have this mandate that we need to AI all the things.
Yep.
Right. So I'm doing my job, but I have no time to do the thing that I'm supposed to do that's supposed to make me faster. But if I spend time on that, I'm going to fall behind. They kind of get caught in that wash cycle. And so we come in and kind of build the framework around them, embracing what they're already doing, and then slowly getting them into an agentic flow. And it's not that we're going to eat their jobs or they're not going to have any work to do. There's still work to do. I have a second monitor over here that's just, it feels like the Matrix. It's just code running all the time. I still have work to do. It's just shifting where that work's happening.
Yeah. Well, I'll move on then because you've
Yeah.
probably got work to do after this to get
No, it's
back
all
to it.
good.
But
It's a Friday. It's fine.
let's talk through how you're doing this. So take us through how you were building these things.
Yeah. So when we set out to build the site, we primarily build in Next.js now. Most of our projects are Next.js based, and so we knew we were going to be
Just really
using.
quickly, what's the logic for them being Next.js based? Talk us through why that tech stack.
Next.js React framework. React's been around for a long time. Next.js is kind of the enterprise stalwart for the React ecosystem. And I mean, I grew up in an IBM house with a dad that worked there. So the phrase, no one ever got fired for buying IBM.
Right.
It's that same type of thing. Next.js is kind of that. You can walk into a room and say, we're going to build you a site in Next.js, and nobody's going to freak out, right?
Yep.
And so the idea behind Next.js is that it offers a lot of speed and performance, and it gives us a lot of the flexibility that we would try to do in other frameworks. But you would really have to push them to their limits to get there. And frankly, Pantheon's Next.js offering, now that it's live, is awesome. And we've been building on Pantheon since I was a beta user. And so our whole workflow is around multi-devs and the dev test prod workflow, building into GitHub, all those things, right? And so for us to be able to build a site on Next.js, on Pantheon, using the same workflow that we always have, it was just a natural fit. And so we picked Next.js, but then we kind of were like, again, if we're going to experiment this thing, let's experiment totally. And so we actually chose a different CMS. We chose a CMS called Payload, which is a Next.js based CMS, and it actually runs in the same repo as our website. And so underneath the stack, there's no WordPress, there's no Drupal. It's very clean. It's very simple. And the entire idea behind it is that we wanted to have not only a monolithic repo to see, can we do that? At the time, I don't think anyone had built a CMS into the Next.js environments within Pantheon. So I think we were the first to shim that in. But it actually works out really well. And so here's the site. And again, it's an agency site. So it's not meant to be anything flashy. We actually prefer, we think there's some sophistication in simple websites. And so for us, the website itself is not necessarily we're going to have all these like shooting stars and everything coming across.
MySpace
and
glitter.
I'll show you that here in a minute, but it's not on the outset. Our whole thing is we're simple. We work with people and we build human solutions for digital problems, right? So, but here's where the fun began. And it began in Figma, where our designer essentially put together a series of tokens. And you'll see here, if you're a Star Wars fan, some of this will start looking familiar. We'll get to where some of this plays here in a minute. But what they did is they broke out in a typical design system fashion, atomic design system. Here's the typography, here's the colors, here's the spacing, build a couple atoms, build a couple molecules. And then they turned it over to Claude and said, build me a hero, build me a demo, build me a header, all of these things. So Claude actually built and designed the majority of this, the underlying framework of this, from those tokens. Again, if we do things right and we define for the system, here's your playground that you can play in, now go paint. It actually can paint really well. And people who are doing agentic design go to Claude Design and say, build me a one-pager, here's some brand colors. And then all of a sudden they're like, this is weird. Like, I don't know where this is coming from. That's because you're not giving it the right framework. And so when we went into actually to create these blog components, not one of these blog components was created by our designer. This is all Claude building.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So
the other thing you'll notice
about the design system you did feed to Claude.
So what we ended up doing is we took this and we said, okay, here's all the different pieces, and we actually created some of the layouts. And so again, Claude would just piece these together and drop them in. Our designer's looking over them to make sure they all look good. But simple design that everyone would see in Figma. I then went to Claude and said, hey, here's this Figma space. Here's Next.js. go build it. And that's it, right? Vibe code to the max, go do your thing. And what's interesting about it is as it started to build, what you start to see is Figma and these design tools will tell you the what, but they won't tell you the how. Like Figma doesn't tell you build it mobile first and then build your desktop overrides. That's something design or developers choose, right? That's not something the designers choose. And we were able to do, here's all the colors. Here's, color surfaces. Here's the semantic colors, very well documented, all that good stuff. And as it started going through, it started building out all of these, the full design system that lived in Figma. It built it down into a fully compliant Next.js site. But as an agency, that's a scary idea, because as an agency, what am I going to do when this thing goes off the rails? How do I make sure that it builds what I want it to build? And so the core of what I'm trying to push to agencies right now is skills and blueprints. This is where the magic happens. Yes, we have a website. It's cool. We have a design system. That's fun. We use Claude to go from design to code. That's great. But how do you build a site that you actually want to maintain, that you actually are proud of, and you want it to be what you want it, you want the world to look at? And so this is where all the work happens. And this is where I'm encouraging a lot of agencies to spend your time. Don't chase tools that are going to build for you and adopt to them, because now you're saying whatever you want to do, go for it. And you're giving off your expertise. And so what we did is it took months for us to get through this. But I sat down and actually had Claude interview me on the agency.
Oh, cool.
What do you do? How do you do? How do you choose your CMS? What do you build? When you build a front-end website, what are the rules you use? Always do this, never do this. Here are our basic ways that we author. Who do we launch with? We always launch with Pantheon, right? So here's how we use Pantheon. Here's how even though Pantheon has documentation on how to best use Pantheon, here's how we use Pantheon, right? Here's how, just because Next.js and go build to industry best practices, but there's always that extra little factor on top. And so that is what made our ability to say, go build this design system actually work. Because if you notice here, when we get into typography, mobile first, desktop overrides, that comes from the blueprint. As we're building front end, in the blueprint, it says always build mobile first, because we want to have a compliant mobile first experience. And so every time this series of skills gets pulled into one of our websites now, that agent that is running in that code base now is running off of our direction. And so as an agency, everyone's had those times when, midnight, site crashes. What happened? You do your after action report. You come back and say, okay, this is the reason why this occurred. Where does that go? A lot of the times it goes into a wiki and nobody reads it anymore, right? We put it into the skills. And so all of these skills are not only us putting our knowledge into text, but as we're building, I always ask at the end of a session, I say, go back and update any of the skills with any of the new learnings or things that we ran into that we don't want to have happen again. So every single one of these skills is battle hardened time after launch. And so this is where, in my opinion, the value of agencies is going to come in, because I can now take this and I've codified what is Cellar Door, and I can take this to anybody and say, do you want your devs to build the Cellar Door way? Do you want our years of knowledge and all of the work that we've done on other sites? We can build that into here. And so as we started doing that, there's actually a Pantheon Terminus skill. And so we've got a Pantheon Terminus skill that tells, here is how you use Terminus, right? There's the Terminus documentation, which is great, but that's not real world. That's ideal. And that's to fix and learn. But here's what you never do. Hard rule, never print secret values. Don't ever go try, like we had, and this is not from a randomness. Claude actually tried to do this. It tried to be like, do we have that secret in there? I don't know. I'll go grab it and I'll print it and see if I can. It's like, nope, we're not doing that. Nice. So we have all of these pieces in place. And so when you see like payload, here's the payload skill that we have. These are all payload. This is the payload docs distilled down as we built it with the CMS in this new site. And that's great. And it's like 17,000 lines of documentation of how we built that site. And we even have a payload on Pantheon. And here's 1,000 lines of text on how to make sure that your cookies work on Pantheon. These are all different things that we learned as we weaved through this process to build. And now that's codified, and every other site is going to start getting that level of knowledge behind it. So I can nerd out a whole bunch on that. I know we're not in there, but one of the really fun things about this website that I'm super proud of is we're all Star Wars nerds. You can see I've got a little Star Wars collection going back here. And so on the website now, our little Easter egg is if you actually type in "use the Force," it flips to
Nice.
Arabesh, and it looks like you're in the Rebellion.
That's awesome.
This is just a few of those design tokens from Figma that flipped over, right? And all our designer had to do is say, "Hey, here's a logo for it." And on the layouts, he created one layout. That's it.
Huh.
That's all Claude had to take was, here's one layout. And because we were using the same tokens in this layout that we were elsewhere in the design system, it picked up, created an entire theme system, and off it ran. But then we didn't stop there because we wanted to have fun. So we said, well, what about I am your father? Now we're in the Empire mode. Same fonts. There's actually some Easter eggs in the background. I had Claude actually create an SVG of the Death Star with plans on how to blow it up and stuff and all of this. But as you navigate, all of the functions are the same. All of the pieces are there. And then the last one is let the past, let me do this here. Let the past die. And for those that are Star Wars nerds, you know that that's part of the sequels. And now we have Kylo Ren's unstable lightsaber at the top and a First Order theme here. And so we do this. And what's really fun about this website is we don't publish that anywhere. We do it on things like this. We talk with folks. But if I'm in a pitch, and I've done this multiple times now, I'm in a pitch with a client and I'm talking to them about the power of an agentic design system and how we can build for that. Yeah, we can build Star Wars, and that's cool. I just showed you 3 sub-brands. I can take your design system and in a few token swaps where we're doing it all in the tools that you're used to, I can now harness all of your subsidiaries, all of your sub-brands that you have, and we can just make that thing churn. And that's when the light bulb flips for the designers, and they're like, oh, that's cool, right? Now you can build a website that has all of these underlying themes in it. And if you look at the actual code running that, it's just a few overrides here. So as we get down in here, it's okay. If I'm the Rebellion or Empire or First Order, I'm going to change your font to Arabesh. If I'm the Rebellion, here's my 4 colors. If I'm the Empire, here's my colors here. And we're just overriding the color variables that were declared in the base theme, right? So this isn't anything special. It's not anything like hard coded in. This literally is just us building the site like we normally would for a sub brand. And so that's part of the fun of having the site that we have now is not only do we dog food it, and it shows that we can take this design and actually create compliant code that we want to maintain through the skills and everything. Now we can start showing off in this type of design system. Each of those themes took us about 30 minutes. Once we had the core design system in place, took about 30 minutes and 2 or 3 prompts, and you can just start changing. So now, of course, our team wants to do, we're going to have Star Trek, we're going to have Lord of the Rings, we're going to have all the nerdery laying behind the site, because it's just a few clicks and a code push and we're done.
Man, I love it. Chris, this is the first time you've walked me through this. And I talk websites all day, and I've learned a ton just from this session. The ability to build out those sub brands with the same governance and control that you need, but also give freedom within a framework. Give that ability to be flexible, but maintain all of even just the brand consistency that you're used to is huge. And I think one of the things I love the most is looking through the blueprints and the skills, because the big fear around AI, and especially building with AI on the web, is once you're done vibe coding, what happens with it? Who manages it? Who makes sure it's QA'd and stays consistent? This alleviates a lot of that, because it is consistently getting better and more safe than it would be if you were relying on a human chain there.
Well, and so we can tell our devs test-driven development, build tests into everything, but we're human. We will, cut corners, do whatever. If we have a rule in our skill that says you will always have a test for every piece, it was critical for us when we were doing this whole theming thing, because as it was trying to change the colors, it was finding like, oh, these two colors didn't contrast right, because we have an accessibility checker that runs on every single run. So now it's going through and checking and making sure, like when I said use the Empire, I didn't give it a palette. I just said, take that rebellion theme and make it the Empire. It went out, and if you look in the comments, it's actually like Durasteel gray and like all these different colors from the movies, but it was testing itself through the process, right? And so the framework that we put in place allowed us to get to that point super, super quick, and without having our designer spending hours picking colors and doing all that. So if agency owners or anyone can get anything out of this, it's not build cool websites, Pantheon's fun, that's all great, but take your knowledge and put it into the skills, and that's what's actually going to make AI build like your team. And now my team is building with this, and they're contributing to it. And as they find things that are gaps or their knowledge that they want to put in, it's just constantly updating. And now we have a repo that is kind of the hive mind of Cellar Door.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And then you get the real, to Juliet's point in the chat here, real-time collaboration through Figma, and the ability to get your entire team, your clients, et cetera, in that feedback loop, but still maintain the security and consistency of the code base.
100%. And we're not changing the tooling, right? We're not going into an enterprise and saying, okay, well, you need to adopt this new agentic design tool. We're saying build in Figma. Figma actually has quite a bit of AI capabilities. Build in there, but the problem has always been, how do you go from Figma to the site and make it consistent, right? And so people may want to use our blueprints, but we may go into a company and say, let's build your blueprints. Let's codify how you build. And so now, and I like talking to the security nerds, I like talking to the IT teams, and they're always concerned about, well, I don't want to vibe code things because I don't know how secure it is and I don't know this. It's great. Use our blueprints or build some of your own, and now you can take all of your hard and fast rules and make sure that the AI doesn't paint outside the lines.
Love it. Love it. Chris, I have some bad news. We geeked out too hard and we don't have time.
I know. I just saw the time.
First of all, I want to say thank you. That was really awesome to walk through. Appreciate you taking the time and sharing your perspective. Love the work you're doing at Cellar Door. If people want to work with you, how do they get in touch with you?
Cellar-door.io. They can find a contact form there. You can find me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, email. It's pretty easy, chris@cellar-door.io. And let's get in touch and talk. Be happy to help.
Love it. And if you're an agency and looking to experiment with Next.js on Pantheon, you can find us at pantheon.io, and we will help get you set up, or just respond to anybody who's been on this session today too. Chris is basically a part of our team. He's wearing a Pantheon sweatshirt that I don't even have. So I got
razzed by the team today when I showed up and I had this on, and I said I got to stay on brand for the stream. So okay, but we love Pantheon. I can tell you as an agency, it is the tool that we use, and it's the backbone of how we are reliably providing services to our customers. So if anyone has any questions or how-tos or whatever, and they want to talk to an agency about how we've adopted it, by all means, contact me and let me know.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you next time on our LinkedIn Live series. See y'all.